I've got a question. Can you design a brand identity, a whole one, in less than a day? I'm not just talking about a logo. I'm talking about the full thing, the full shebang. Brand guidelines, business cards, mockups. Can you do that in less than a day? For context, I normally spend around a month. That's about as much time as I spend. Normally, it can go a bit further along than that on one client identity, and it's not only me that's working on them. The reason why it takes so long is because normally we're meeting with them, which we're not doing today. We're strategizing with their brand, so we don't just design branding and then just give it to them. There's normally a lot of back and forth. Maybe they like the design, maybe they don't. Maybe the direction is correct, maybe it's not. Maybe we have difference of opinion. Well, today I'm going to take on a whole brand identity in one day. That's consolidating hours and hours into one day, which is 8 hours of work. I better get cracking. So first of all, I had to find a client. I couldn't use a real client as it would be a nightmare. It would just make me too stressed. You guys today are my clients. And this is the brief that you gave me. You wanted me to design a logo for a company called Folio, which is a portfolio website. It's where sort of Instagram meets professional portfolios. The uniqueness of Folio comes from the fact that it doesn't use generative AI, and it will not allow generative AI to scan the website and to use the images that you upload for data modeling. So I use the sponsor of today's video's app, WILLYOUGENCY, to do this. WILLYOUGENCY is a new free tool that helps freelance designers work with their own clients and get paid on time, including fully customizable project proposals, a built-in client briefing system, project communication, files, and payments all in one place. I can send new project proposals, choose to use payments to make sure I get paid, pick the briefing option to get a proper brief from the client, and set up all the details from project price to timings and deliverables. I can even add a project I'm already working on with a client. It's pretty great, it's invite only, and I've got the invite code to get you in. So Naomi went ahead and put the WILLYOUGENCY brief up, I saw it, and I got cracking. The first thing I do is mood boarding. Because this was a portfolio website designed around creative professionals, it has to cater towards creative professionals and not the mass market. That's the first thing on my head. Who is this for? From there, I knew that I could go a bit crazy with the design. I could go a little bit pretentious as well. For mood boarding, I used Milanote and it was fun. I felt the pressure though. I only had 8 hours to do this. Milanote is a great tool. It allows you to take images from the web, put them in, give yourself a mood board. You can create boards within boards to have boardception. A lot of these images were put in there to give me sort of a color scheme, but also to give me a certain vibe. I hate the word, but it's a vibe. It's like an atmosphere around the brand. What's the tone of it? So what I'm doing is I'm trying to find images that really speak towards it. Like you got the Figma logo there. I'm going to shove that in because I don't mind having a few logos in my mood board. The color scheme of the AirPod Pro here is nice. I can just shove these straight into Milanote right here. I can add many others if I so desire. I've got this idea in my head already of having Folio in a Y type. Ooh, now this is the one. I like the fact that it's all kind of different, so it feels like diverse. I like this too. It's got Amazon vibes to it, but it's quite friendly. I don't know if I want to be too friendly with this though. It doesn't really make sense. I want it to kind of be modern, but I also like this hutch. Hutch is pretty cool. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking inspiration from other folk who've done this. Everything's like a remix. For instance here, I don't care about the color scheme too much, but the way that the letters work, you know, you've got the H as just the letter. It's kind of like the Medium logo. Ooh, that's an idea. Medium, where is that? Now the Medium logo is pretty cool. I'll take a screenshot of this, bring that in. Like Folio is kind of folded. What if we had this idea where it was folded? This whole process took about an hour, just researching, getting all of this information in. The second step after mood boarding is mind mapping. This is the biggest step that people forget. Now, obviously, I had to be quick. I'm on the clock here. I have a Skillshare original class all about this, but mind mapping is essentially a way of you connecting different imagery that's in word form together to create new ideas. Mind mapping allows me to create connections with things that you wouldn't expect, and that's the beauty of it. You can create verbal connections and make them into imagery. So, for instance, Folio, like got the social media aspect to it, so it's like Instagram, like licensing for images maybe. Something that I'm gonna write is it's like old school, before AI. Or like before computers. Like Folio is safe, it's a safe place. Ownership is a big one. Essentially, I'm going to just go in and out of the move board and my node and see where we come up to, and hopefully I'll have something that I really like. You might be surprised, there's like only 8 hours to go in the working day, and I'm actually spending a lot of time doing all the research stuff, but this is what I needed to do. This is what gives me the foundation. I always look at it like a pyramid. You've got the foundation of what you need, which is all the information. The top is the smallest part, which is the design, the end result. It's very concise, but a lot of work goes into it from this pyramid. Once I feel like I've got enough fuel, inspiration, gas in the tank, enough information to go ahead, I very quickly just brought out my iPad. Normally I would do sketching on paper. Recently I've been doing it more and more in just normal paper and using tracing paper to refine, but because we're on the clock, using the iPad. I just start lettering out the word folio a lot in a certain brush, which I'm going to link down below, which you can get for Procreate. I'm looking at the way the letters communicate with each other and seeing what we can do to create a more unique aesthetic. I find it's always easier to create a unique aesthetic with typography than in icons, because there's a lot more shapes happening in typography that'll make a lot more sense, and you can connect them in crazy different ways. So I had this one idea where the letter O was quite wide and I really liked the look of it. But I also had different ones with the letter F. I had to make sure that it didn't look like Fender. I didn't want anything to look like the Fender logo, although it is a nice noodle logo. During this point, I don't really care how bad the logos look. Normally, no one sees these, but because I'm recording, I get a little bit nervous of people seeing them. You don't ever have to show your clients these in most cases. This is for your own benefit, and for me, doing this, it helps see what works and doesn't work. So I just carry on creating shape after shape. Feeling the pressure though, I could do this all day. I need to stop. I need to actually make a decision. This is what Bob Ross would say, the decision time. I like to write on my work a lot, so I was in red pen just scripting out bits that I didn't like. And I was highlighting things that I did like. But it's not just personal preference, it's just what I thought would work well for the brand and for the age group, for the target audience of it. I ended up on that first idea that I really liked. The O, the wide-tracked O. I love the combination of having the arm of the F at the top come across with folio. It flowed really well, and I also like the wide-tracked O's. But there was something still off on it, so I decided to take it out and do some refinement, which is where I essentially copy it, upscale it, trace over it, and get rid of any mistakes. This process normally takes me the longest amount of time because I'm having to go through all these minute details that I know about typography, which I'm going to make a video on soon. There's a lot of illusions that are happening, so from overshooting to how thick certain crossbars should be. Even looking at the counters of the O, there was something wrong, but I kept going and I really liked this idea of where it was going. But there was one little thing in the design that I think really solidified it for me, which was the star. And I don't know why I put it in there. It doesn't really make much sense branding wise because it seemed vintage and it also seemed modern. It was kind of like an amalgamation between like the NASA logo and something old. The star really just jumped out at me as being one of the brand visuals. In my mind, I also knew that the F could be consolidated down with the star to create an icon, which was one of the big things of this. We didn't want to just have the star as the icon, although we could just blow up the star and put the F inside it. There's so many different ways of doing it. I wanted to have this way of keeping the F around when it was in a favicon or when it was in an app icon. So I kept going, I kept noodling around with it, refining it down, and the time is ticking and I'm getting a bit worried at this point. The next step is the choice. I make another choice and say, yes, I'm going to put this into Illustrator. This is the refinement stage. I bring the logo into Illustrator from my iPad. This is where I start to refine it a bit more. Normally this takes a lot longer, especially with type. So if you can spot some mistakes in the end logo, let me know. I start gridding it up. By that, I'm bringing guides on the X height, the ascender height, the descender height, and everything else, and I start lining things up. If you want to know more about how I do this, essentially, I'm just reusing elements of the design. I've got the stem of the F, which is the big thick part, and I'm just copying that over. In fact, I start with the L. That's right, the L. I reuse that thickness all over because if the thickness of that L is any thinner in any other parts where it shouldn't be, it's gonna look a bit crazy and not look good. Great logo design is all about consistency. When I get to the F, I notice there's some problems. The bar at the top, the arm looks a bit too thick, but it's the exact same thickness even though I've shoved it down. So I have to do some optical balancing to make it look good. A lot of the time when you sketch a logo and then you bring it in to refine it, it looks terrible because you haven't refined it enough. Refining is all about the minute details. I make that crossbar a little bit thinner, and I like the design. It's going well, but there is still a few issues with the O. The O doesn't look correct, so I do some balancing with them. If I draw some perfect O's or perfect circles or ellipses, then it's not gonna look like an O. It's gonna look like a perfect circle. Kind of strange, isn't it? An O isn't really a perfect circle at all. So although it's wide, I go ahead and I play with the counter. The counter is the bit that's missing inside of the O. That's the typographic term. It looks cool. It's got a serif vibe and it works so well. It's kind of like a mashup between serif and really clean modern typography that's tracked widely. It looks like something that would be on a spaceship, which if you don't know, my goal is to design something that will be in space. So I'm stoked about this. At this point, I'm checking Gency because Gency allows me to see what the client needs. It gives me the deliverables, and also I'm looking at the time frame. I haven't got long left. So if we go to Gency, I can see what the client has asked for. In this case, it's Naomi. So the client has picked out these images here, which have the sort of taste that I'm going for within this design. So when I first started the project, this is what I got. And this is very much in line with what I'm looking for here, the target audience. I'm seeing that I need to also refine this, create an icon, and do brand guidelines. Time is running out. So I first need to go ahead and create a color scheme. Now there's one color that I really liked that sort of sparked the idea of creativity, but also a superior type of Instagram. That's what I was going for. And that is purple or blurple. If you don't know, purple was a very hard color to create back in the medieval times. They had to do it in a crazy way. I think it was dead things that they did it, or like seashells, a certain type of seashell, I don't know. But only royalty could get purple. So purple's a great color. Blurple is even better though. So I use this blurple, really like it, and I wanted to come up with a different color scheme. So I brought that hex code of the electric indigo into coolers to generate some real quick colors. Normally I would just spend more time in Adobe Illustrator because I wouldn't be sweating like I am trying to get this finished. So there's me creating some color schemes, and I really like this sort of yellow. It's a very dark, saturated yellow, and I put that in as well. I could start to see this thing happening now. This thing started to look really good. Now, with only a few hours on the clock, I've got to do one of the most longest and tedious parts of the process. I have to also create the brand guidelines. That takes forever normally. However, I've got a little trick up my sleeve for this. I have this website called Assets 4D where we upload amazing design resources, premium design resources made by us to help you. And I've got this template called the brand guidelines template. This is a Figma template with loads of components. I decided instead of creating Folio's brand guidelines by scratch, I'm going to do it within this template. So I start going into Figma and I start editing. I bring in the logos. The cool thing about the brand guidelines template is it's super easy to put in your logos and it will apply it everywhere. Double click, delete, paste, in.
I found this on the web.
It's not what I wanted. Same with the global colors. I added the global colors, the global fonts as well, all the way through. Now I thought I could be a little bit sleazy and finish this even earlier by using ChatGPT to create some of the copywriting within the guidelines. However, I haven't subscribed to it, so I don't have access because it was busy. So with not much time for me to start messing around, I start putting in the work. I bring in the logo, I start to bring in some imagery. I delete a few boards too because some of those boards don't need to be in there. This is more of a mini one. I don't know if that's a cop out, but that's just easier. The biggest one was the do's and don'ts. These are huge, and I'm surprised not many people do them. When you're designing a logo, it's not good enough for you to design it. The client can ruin it, and you are the one to stop them from doing that by giving them this Bible, which is the brand guidelines. This is what's going to stop them from messing around with your design, especially because that company's owner probably doesn't do design himself. They need someone else to know what not to do. Good design is about knowing what not to do rather than what to do. So I added in the do's and don'ts, or just the don'ts really. The do's are pretty self-explanatory. Don't stretch, don't add a stroke, don't manipulate it, don't rotate it, don't kiss it, don't sit on it. things like that. With all that done, I needed to start writing some text in. ChatGPT wasn't helping me out today. For a real client project, obviously I would not use ChatGPT because there's a lot of information that I would put in. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more about that. So I started adding in some information. It seemed a bit bare bones, but that's what I could do. The next step was to create some mockups. Sometimes you would put the mockups into the brand guidelines. I kind of did it a bit backwards, but I wanted to do it like this. It seemed like the best choice. But before mockups, I had to create a business card. Now, there's a cool template that I downloaded from Envato, or I got it from the InDesign store. There's no need for me to create a new template for a business card, as it's very self-explanatory. Business cards are kind of just standardized. So I used this template, and my plan was to bring it into Canva afterwards, save it as a PDF, bring it into Canva, because a lot of designers don't know that you can just essentially bring in a PDF to Canva, decide what's editable, set it as a template, and then the client can then edit it. It's great for social media posts. But Canva didn't like it because I couldn't upload the main font, which is Rock Grotesque. I've been using this font everywhere recently. It's great. From here, I added all the information to the markups really quickly and easily. I could see the finish line. It was so close. And before you know it, I am essentially complete. All that's left is for me to go back to Gency and to essentially show them what I've done. I created a cover image, very basic, of just the business cards, uploaded it, awaited for approval, and I got approved. I don't think they were biased. Maybe they were. After that, I got the invitation to upload the files. I did so, I got paid. Not really. Now, the great thing about this whole project is that it showed me that I can do something in one day if I really put my mind to it. But it's never going to be as good. The saying goes, you can have it done right or done right now. I can't help but feel how different and how good this brand concept could have been if I gave myself, I don't know, a week or even the month. Now, with Gency sponsoring this video, they're great. If you want to go and get an invite, click the link down below. It's invite only. And if you're a freelance designer who struggles to get paid, get contracts signed, get NDA signed, and it just takes way too much of your time, then Gency is for you. Honestly, it's a lifesaver. If you enjoyed this video, then stick around by pressing the red subscribe button and share this. That's how people get to find these videos, is by you guys sharing them with other people. Like and let me know what you think. If you have an idea, post it in the comments and I'll catch you in the next video. See you soon. Goodbye.